This is Group I's presentation on truth and information online. It's becoming increasingly harder to discern truth from fiction in this day and age, because people can't be bothered to fact check, or they're just unwilling to question what they hear if it's what they want to hear. And as lies spread, they've become harder to distrust. If so many people believe it, there must be some truth to it, right? So how do we deal with this problem, and what developments does the future hold? Some experts questioned by the Pew Research Center believe that the problem will get better with time as technology becomes better at labeling, filtering, or banning misinformation, while other experts believe that human nature, specifically how we are willing to take advantage of others for our own gain, is to blame, and so the issue will not improve. Overall, 49% of experts believed things would get better, while 51% believed things would get worse. Many of the experts believe that it's necessary that information literacy become a primary goal at all levels of education, and that a publicly funded, widely trusted press could also be a viable solution. Now, I personally wrote articles that weren't truthful. I'm going to analyze a couple of my own to show that often the things we read online are not truthful. Here's an article about quantum computing. You may or may not notice that the URL says opinion. There is also a disclaimer on the page itself near my name. However, they also listed me as an industry analyst and PR manager. This sounds fancy, and that was the point. Many of my articles were ignored because of my lack of credentials, but they got traffic and readers nonetheless. I can't know how many people saw my formal title and trusted my words, but I imagine that some did. Slightly more insidious and perhaps more compelling is this article. Several executives across the globe answered my questions about data leaks. Some, or perhaps even all of their answers were truthful. I don't know, and that's the point. There's an editor or a journalist who decided to publish my article without knowing whether or not I was communicating truth, much less whether the security executives were. Executive is just a fancy title for a human, just like you and me. They still make plenty of mistakes. However, you may find it difficult to identify which one of them was most truthful or most thorough. They all gave different answers to a copy and pasted question. They can't all have the right answer, can they? Perhaps they all said completely different things, but we're getting at a singular concept. In the article, this could be the concept of human error and data security. Nobody can know every possible method to safeguard their data. It's much easier to take than to protect. My point is that I didn't know much of this at the time of writing. My other point is, how do you know whether to believe me now? What if my original articles were completely true, and I'm lying right now? Alright, here's one more for the road. This one just makes me sad to read. If you search online for HPE versus Dell servers 2018, you will find my article most likely. In fact, I'm fairly certain thousands have. At least that's what the Google Analytics data says to my recollection. More importantly, people commented. Not necessarily things like, good points, as you might imagine that thoughtful individuals would. Instead, they argued over which server was, in fact, better. The funny thing is, I actually copied, or rather stole, the information from Redditors. I have no idea which information was accurate. If the debates in our comment sections online are any indication, I firmly believe that most people are not completely sure which information online is true either. It's scary to look for answers and fail to find them, especially when your job, your livelihood, and the lives of your family members depend on you finding your way to the truth. It's easy to see all this and take the cynical approach, to believe that the internet is all corrupt and you'll never find your answers if everyone is just lying all the time. I believe that some scant closure can be found in the writings of the great philosopher Kant. If you were blessed with an incredible philosophy professor as I was, you were shown how important the categorical imperative is. If everyone lies, then everyone loses. There is no truth anymore at that point. So what then? Well, you may find peace in doing as I have done. Shield yourself with the truth. Say, I don't know. Say, I trust that you're good, but I don't know if I can believe you. I need to do my due diligence and search for my own answers. It may hurt to admit that you've been wrong, as it has hurt me. You may find that as you rely on the truth, you can learn to see it in others as well. You may find help for your pain in places that you least expected. Now to the all-important question. Should you believe me? No, I don't believe you should. I think you need to decide that for yourselves. If you think technology is good, you're wrong. If you think technology is bad, you're wrong. If you think technology simply is, you're correct. Even black and white could look different to different people, so maybe you should stop trusting it so much. Or maybe not. That's your call to make. But I, for one, will show technological advancements a healthy respect, even if I accept that they probably won't or can't be stopped. Discussion question 1. What are some steps you can take to distinguish between lies and truth online? Question 2. How do you think online misinformation will change in the future? Do you think it will become more or less prominent? Question 3. Have you ever fallen victim to misinformation online? If so, what made you believe the information was truthful, and how did you find out it wasn't? If not, what are some strategies you use to not fall prey to misinformation?